Hey all, welcome to Circular Tone, and today we try and get to these type of channels, guitar channels, for a little bit of escapism, because the world is crazy. In the 70s they would have told you the world is crazy. In the 80s the same thing, nuclear war and the communists and all that, and then now it seems to be we're at war with fear, with something that doesn't really, affect the average person in the West, but we're told to fear it. So I write songs about things which I'm passionate about, and this is something I'm passionate about. So I'm just going to get right to the song, but afterwards I'm going to explain of what it's about, and it's very political, but it's not what you think. So it's, I don't have... I'm not going to tell you A, B, or C for president is going to work. I'm not going to tell you this, political left and right. I'm not going to tell you which side I'm on until after this song. So, hope you like it. Please like these videos. That really helps my channel out, because, the more likes I get, I think the more exposure my channel gets. So I still only have a few thousand subscribers. And subscribe, obviously. I love you guys. And this is off my album. My band is called Talk, and it's called I Don't Care. And this song is called I've Seen. Circular Tone. And we're back. So, as you can see, that song, if you were watching that song and you'd see the shot of Romney, it's kind of an old song, you'd probably come to the conclusion that I'm on the left, but I'm actually not. In my opinion, could be wrong, in my opinion, there's only one established political arm, and ironically I say established because it is the establishment. What they do, they being the establishment, and I can tell you, I can point you to a finger who exactly they are, and we'll talk about that later. What they do, they create camps. So you have the left and the right. The establishment, which pretty much owns 95% of the media, they make the left and right fight. So they dangle gays, guns, vaginas, and patriotism, and all sorts of things, right? And these are called divisive issues. Divisive issues are generally between 45 and 50% split down the country. And, some things are starting to give, like, thankfully, gay marriage. And some things are kind of still 50-50, like guns. And other things like abortion, they've always been things that nobody can really ever agree on. And the establishment know this. So what they do, they make the left fight with the right. And while we're fighting about Nazis and the alt-rights, and the left are all about, trying to punch a Nazi and everything, while that's all happening, this is the public, the establishment are writing in the background, like Wall Street and the corporations and its large government contractors, they all write our laws. They write their own tax codes. They write their own bailouts. They write their own, pharmaceutical interests. Things like Obamacare. Nobody knows Obamacare is actually Romney Care, which was a Republican bill, which was twisted by the media to think that it was a left type of thing. But all that was a cash grab for the people that were uninsured. They wanted money from those too. So with the stroke of a pen, all of a sudden the government's paying for everybody as well. So it's just more money for big pharma and the hospitals and doctors, things like that. Not doctors, but the upper echelons of the establishment. So while they're doing this, they're writing their own bailouts, their own gov contracts, their own international trade agreements. While we're all fighting, and in the background, they are just pretty much taking everything away from us with privacy laws, extending, like for instance, Obama, he campaigned on Washington being open, like saying that if there was a bill, it would be put online and it would be like a month or so the public could look at the bill before they'd actually sign it. None of that happened. For instance, he strengthened an anti-protest law, which basically meant that if there is the CIA is, or the Secret Service is shadowing somebody, that even if you protest in a public area, you can get arrested. That means practically every political event that you now can't protest on public land, you have to go to designated protest areas. What that does, that means because the media were getting so much heat from regular protesters, they wanted to put the us plebs in a certain place so that the news could avoid them and they wouldn't get hassled and they wouldn't hassle congressmen and things like that. So they didn't want the riffraff to be amongst all these get-togethers that they have. So it's very it's not a new order, it's not some shadowy government, it's not some it's real people. It's lawyers and just bankers and Wall Street people. It's real people, real suits that are doing this in the background. And and we have what we're fighting about recently, Nazis. You are more likely to be struck by lightning in this country than be impacted by a Nazi. Yet somehow, instead of poverty and inequality and the prison system being overgroaning, that's another part of it. For-profit prisons are why there's so many draconian laws against drugs. They lobby against it, and I'll just get to the lobbyists. Lobbyists are what we should be voting against It shouldn't be a Trump. It shouldn't be a Bernie Sanders or Ron Paul or anyone like that. You shouldn't even think about those. These are just people that can't really do anything. It's the establishment that actually write our bills, right? At least some of these people actually read the bills. You know, like 1% probably of Congress read the bills. People like Justin Amash, that could be okay, but still, what controls America is lobbyists, and basically in Washington it's donors, it's political donors. And how do you fight that? It's really, really simple. This, in my opinion, is the greatest study that's ever been done on the issue that we have with inequality, with the 1% and all that crap. This was a study done which literally proves that there's a monopoly, and at the top of this monopoly is all of the donors. They donate to every political country. You know, it's not just America. We're so self-centered, or Britain. You know, we think about who is swaying political, how we vote and everything, and it's global. So, and this list is scientific proof that these corporations that write our own, say, tax laws. I'll just make one example, right? I say we, I'm Welsh, but America has the most convoluted tax code in the world. Why is that? They have lobbyists that lobby against a simple tax reform. In my opinion, we should all pay 12.1% tax. The rich, the poor, the old, 18-year-olds, the corporations, everyone. One form, 12.5%. Everyone pays. No, if you're a religious group, you do not have to. If you are a charity, you do not have. The average charity, 90% of the money goes to the people at top. It doesn't even go to people. So who is the biggest donor, lobbyist, when it comes to avoiding one form that everybody fills out and say, I earned 100,000 and I have to pay, 12,500 tax, and that's it. There you go. Why is that not a thing? What do you use for your taxes? TurboTax, probably. TurboTax are one of the biggest political donors in modern history. They donate millions to avoid us having a simple tax code. Businesses, they're in everything. So if we get a simple tax form, they will go out of business, and we won't be paying them $100, a year in our millions. So now you can see where the money goes. So how is voting for Trump going to make that go away? How is voting for Hillary going to make that go away? Hillary took hundreds of millions of dollars in speaking fees to Wall Street, right? When people say hundreds of millions, she took hundreds of millions, they think, it was donations for her party. No, into her bank account, her and Bill. It's hundreds of millions. I think it's something like almost 300 million for speaking fees, for 20-minute speeches to Wall Street executives. And I recently read a leftist blog, and they said that it's okay because the speeches, the content of the speeches didn't actually tell Wall Street that they were going to get any special treatment. Like she's really going to say, oh, I got you back, and if you mess up, we'll bail you out. Is she really going to say that in the speeches? I'm disappointed in the general public that they will read that and go, oh, she's not part of the establishment, and it actually upsets me. But we can fight back. And like I said, there is a list that's been done by a European think tank, and I think it's part of a scientific group, and they've proved it. So what do they call it? They're very smart. They call it the capitalist network which rules the world. Now they're smart. They're smart in that respect, because if they called it what it is, a corporatist network which rules the world, obviously they'd get into a little bit of trouble, you know. But it links, say, a very large company. It links a very large company. You've got one company up here, right? It has 100 huge companies below it. And below those, each of those 100 companies, there's another 100 companies below it. They're called subsidiaries. So you have this large company, and you have subsidiary, 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 subsidiary. This large company is friends with this large company. Subsidiary, 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 subsidiary. Thousands of large corporations, all interlinked and price fixing behind our backs. So for instance, I've said this before, where you get a Walgreens and a CVS on every corner. You can't just get a Walgreens on every corner, because otherwise that would be a monopoly, even though it is practically. I mean, two major companies, what the hell? But because there's two of them, we say, oh, there's no monopoly. Walgreens and CVS, they actually are price fixed behind closed doors. So they, you know, for that little vial of salt water, it's $7. You know, if they were in a proper state where you have, you know, competition, somebody would bring that out for 50 cents. But they don't, because, you know, we price this because we own the market. We own all the buildings, we own, you know, all the advertising, and we're part of that huge beast. So that's what these companies, and these companies between them practically own the market. So, you know, when they say how the market do in the stock market, and they practically own everything in it between all these conglomerates, and they are not left or right. They are all about themselves and their profits. So basically they have monopolies like Guitar Center, and is a monopoly with Musician's Friend and all this, and they all buy guitars from the same places, you know, and they price fix. So that's the problem. Now these companies at the top of these chains, of these interconnected companies, they are the main donors. They donate for Romney and Obama. They make sure that their horse gets through. I mean, Romney is what? An Ivy League Harvard lawyer. And what is Obama? An Ivy League Harvard lawyer. What a difference. It's, and when they get in power, you know, they, with good intentions, they can push a few things in their own direction. But generally, it's the establishment is the problem. And this link from this scientific website is absolutely fantastic, and it gets so little press because it's so important. And why does it get so little press? Because the you know, the media is owned by the establishment, and they don't want you to know that, oh, by the way, we own all the politicians in Nigeria and everywhere else in the world. What can we do about it? It's the easiest thing in the world. Forget about Trump, forget about voting, forget about this. You vote with your dollar. You take your money, if you have your money in a major bank, if you have your money on a major credit card, you are part of the problem. You need to realize that you're, I mean, HSBC, they practically organized crime where they're laundering money, they're taking money from drug lords, they're robo-signing, like Bank of America, robo-signing houses from underneath people. It's just unbelievable what they're doing and what they get away with. And Bank of America, after the bailouts, are stronger than ever. And I mean, as if bailouts wasn't bad enough, they got given quantitative easing. And not many people even know what quantitative easing is. If this is quantitative easing, say everything in your garage, right? Everything in your attic. What the bank's got, it's all junk, right? It's all broken. Half it, maybe I'll throw it out. It's kind of worth 10% of what it was, and I don't want to lose everything. That's what the banks own. That's the poisonous debt. We signed over through our politicians that we buy back that broken bike in the garage, the MSRP price on it. So we've bought their junk, literally their junk, in their garage for the price that it was on the street, you know, brand new. That's what quantitative easing is. We're buying up all the crappy debt of all these crappy, terrible banks. We have given the wolves the like armor plating. They're stronger than ever, and they always plead poverty. Even though Obamacare and everything is making people like Aetna so strong, Aetna had to lose money quickly, because if we saw their profits, they were obscene. So they actually even give underlings huge raises. People on the phones we got to get rid of all this profit, otherwise it's going to be too. And then we plead poverty, where we invest in ourselves, we buy buildings left, right, and centre quick, you know. So I'm ranting, but this is what it's all about. You need to take your money and put it into a credit union. You need to vote with your dollar. Do not go anywhere near the Citibank, the Bank of America, any of these major, you know, banks, because it's Wall Street. It's the large banks, large corporations. They're all interlinked together, and if we cannot shop at Walmart, if we cannot try and pay these despots like Fox and everything, if we don't watch their channels, that's how we win. So vote with your dollar. Try and trade as much as you can. That's what I do a lot, where you barter with stuff. You know, you can, if I want a camera lens, I say, do you want to swap a guitar for it? That type of thing. What sucks is, like Rupert Murdoch, you can't get away from some of this stuff. Yeah, the monopoly is so big. I mean, they leverage your love. I've mentioned that before. They leverage your love of Les Paul to, you know, make you pay through the nose for it. And they've done that with me, where I have to pay the worst companies in the world to watch my team Spurs. You know, it's Tottenham Hotspur. I'm more passionate about that than I am guitars. So every time I pay these companies, it just kills me. But sometimes you can't avoid the monopoly. You know, I mean, only Comcast I get internet here. Otherwise, you know, what am I going to do? So it kind of sucks. So this is the ugly truth, in my opinion. I might be wrong about politics, where, like I say, the Nazi thing, the alt-right, you were more corporations, donors. Let's just talk about that. You know, the prison system, the military. You're more likely now, because of this legislation, to be shot by a cop than a Nazi. The police have been militarized. You know, it's insane. And you have these sleepy villages, these cops, being given assault vehicles, and they're like, what the hell am I going to do? I can't afford the upkeep on this. One tire costs half of my budget for a week. You know, so and that, again, is lobbying, where the industrial military complex, they want to give the military the newest and best. So they write these little bills where the military give the police their old assault weapons, their old assault vests, their old, you know, choppers and all the rest of it. So that way they can sell more new stuff to the army and to the Navy and everything. So and it's trillions, you know, over the course of a couple of presidents. And it's insane. And now, you know, you're getting the drug laws. Police don't want to kick in impoverished guys' doors because of some weed. They don't want to do that. They've done it because they've got some idiots in Washington signing laws that, you know, you can get prison time for a bit of weed. I don't even smoke, and it's just draconian. You know, it's tough, but like I say, vote with your money, get your money out of the banks, get them in a credit union. Sometimes it's awkward to get a credit union, and it's not as easy, but it's part of the satisfaction of it, you know? Vote with your dollar, get with the right if you're on the left. Get with the right, you know? Don't punch a Nazi. Don't think that the fucking narrative is true just because a few dozen idiots met up in one area. It doesn't mean there's an epidemic, you know? So what you're going to do is get together with the enemy, with the right, with the left, and together we can just vote out the establishment with our dollar. If we could close down, if we had a Twitter push, right? If the right can get with the left and everybody tweets, get rid of your Citi card, boom. Do you know what message that would send if everyone got rid of their Citi card to the establishment? It would be amazing. And that's what we need. The donors, we need to zoom in on the donors, and we know who the donors are. The lists are out there. So we could fix it. It's not going to happen. The influence is too strong. There's not enough people out there to really push this. But, you know, you can say something about it, and I say something about it through music and perhaps my little channel. You know, we can. I mean, Left and Right is the longest, most expensive con in modern history. It's cost us 20 trillion. Man, it's ridiculous. We're all linked. We're all the same, you know? And once we get past realizing that the establishment is the root of all evil, after we, you know, stop sending our money to these terrible companies, then we can maybe work out our differences, our divisive issues. And spoiler alert, guns are never going to go away and women are always going to get abortions. I hate to break it to you. You know, because you should be able to do what you want. So if you like this video, please subscribe. If you're on the left, don't comment on my video. If you're on the right, don't comment on my video. Have a good one. I've been Owen, Circle Tone. What?